Sophia of the Palatinate was the Electress of Hanover from 1692 to 1698. She became heiress presumptive to the crowns of the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Ireland under the Act of Settlement 1701. After the Act of Union, 1707 unified the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland, she became heiress to the throne of the Kingdom of Great Britain. Sophia, a granddaughter of James VI and I, died less than 2 months before she would have become queen. Her claim to the thrones passed on to her eldest son, George Louis, Elector of Hanover, who ascended them as George I on August 1, 1714. Born to Frederick V, Elector Palatine, and Elizabeth Stuart, in 1630, Sophia grew up in the Dutch Republic, where her family had sought refuge after the sequestration of their electorate during the 30 Years' War. Sophia's brother Charles Louis was restored to the Palatinate as part of the Peace of Westphalia. Sophia married Ernest Augustus of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg in 1658. Despite his jealous temper and frequent absences, Sophia loved him, and bore him 7 children who survived to adulthood. Initially a landless cadet, Ernest Augustus succeeded in having the House of Hanover raised to electoral dignity in 1692. Therefore, Sophia became Electress of Hanover, the title by which she is best remembered. A patron of the arts, Sophia commissioned the palace and gardens of Herrenhausen and sponsored philosophers, such as Gottfried Leibniz and John Toland. Early life. A daughter of Frederick V, Elector Palatine, and Elizabeth Stuart, also known as the Winter King and Queen of Bohemia for their short rule in that country, Sophia was born in the Wazimerhof, The Hague, Dutch Republic, where her parents fled into exile after the Battle of White Mountain. Through her mother, she was the granddaughter of James VI and I, King of Scotland and England. At birth, Sophia was granted an annuity of 40 thalers by the estates of Friesland. Sophia was courted by her first cousin, Charles II of England, but she rebuffed his advances as she thought he was using her in order to get money from her mother's supporter, Lord William Craven. Marriage. Before her marriage, Sophia, as the daughter of Frederick V, Elector Palatine of the Rhine, was referred to as Sophie, Princess Palatine of the Rhine, or as Sophia of the Palatinate. The electors of the Palatinate were the Calvinist senior branch of House of Wittelsbach, whose Catholic branch ruled the Electorate of Bavaria. On September 30, 1658, she married Ernest Augustus, Elector of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg, at Heidelberg, who in 1692 became the first Elector of Hanover. Ernst August was a second cousin of Sophia's mother Elizabeth Stuart, as they were both great-grandchildren of Christian III of Denmark. Sophia became a friend and admirer of Gottfried Leibniz while he was librarian at the court of Hanover. Their friendship lasted from 1676 until her death in 1714. This friendship resulted in a substantial correspondence, first published in the 19th century, that reveals Sophia to have been a woman of exceptional intellectual ability and curiosity. She was well read in the works of Rene copyright Descartes and Baruch Spinoza. Together with Ernst Augustus, she greatly improved the summer palace of Herrenhausen and she was the guiding spirit in the creation of the gardens surrounding the palace, where she died. Sophia has several children. Those who reached adulthood were George I of Great Britain, Frederick Augustus of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg, Imperial General, Maximilian William of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg, Field Marshal in the Imperial Army, Sophia Charlotte, Queen in Prussia, Charles Philip of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg, Colonel in the Imperial Army, Christian Henry of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg, Ernest Augustus of Brunswick-Lauencourt-Neuburg, Duke of York and Albany, became Prince Bishop of Osnabrück-Quarter-CK as Ernest Augustus II. Sophia was absent for almost a year, 1664-5, during a long holiday with Ernest Augustus in Italy, but she corresponded regularly with her son's governess and took a great interest in her son's upbringing, even more so on her return. After Sophia's tour, she bore Ernest Augustus another 4 sons and a daughter. In her letters, Sophia describes her eldest son as a responsible, conscientious child who set an example to his younger brothers and sisters. Sophia was, at first, against the marriage of her son and Sophia Dorothea of Celle, looking down on Sophia Dorothea's mother and concerned by Sophia Dorothea's legitimated status, but was eventually won over by the advantages inherent in the marriage. Heiress of the crowns. In September 1700, Sophia met her cousin, King William III of England and II of Scotland, at Loo. Just 2 months before their meeting, Prince William, Duke of Gloucester, King William III's nephew and son of the future Queen Anne, died. Given the ailing William III's reluctance to remarry, the inclusion of Sophia in the line of succession was becoming more likely. A year later, the Parliament of England passed the Act of Settlement 1701 declaring that, in the default of legitimacy from Anne or William III, the crowns were to settle upon the most excellent Princess Sophia, Electress and Duchess Dowager of Hanover, and the heirs of her body, being Protestant. The key excerpt from the settlement, naming Sophia as heiress presumptive reads, "Therefore for a further provision of the succession of the crown in the Protestant line we your Majesty's most dutiful and loyal subjects the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons in this present Parliament assembled do beseech your Majesty that it may be enacted and declared and be it enacted and declared by the King's most excellent Majesty by and with the advice and consent of the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons in this present Parliament assembled and by the authority of the same that the most excellent Princess Sophia Electress and Duchess Dowager of Hanover daughter of the most excellent Princess Elizabeth late Queen of Bohemia daughter of our late Sovereign Lord King James I of happy memory be and is hereby declared to be the next in succession in the Protestant line to the imperial crown and dignity of the foresaid realms of England France and Ireland with the dominions and territories thereunto belonging after His Majesty and the Princess Anne of Denmark and in default of issue of the said Princess Anne and of His Majesty respectively." Sophia was made heiress presumptive for the purpose of cutting off any claim by the Roman Catholic James Francis Edward Stuart, who would otherwise have become James III and VIII, as well as denying the throne to many other Roman Catholics and spouses of Roman Catholics who held a claim. The Act restricts the British throne to the Protestant heirs of Sophia of Hanover who have never been Roman Catholic and who have never married a Roman Catholic. Some British politicians attempted several times to bring Sophia to England in order to enable her to immediately assume the government in the event of Anne's death. It was also argued that such a course was necessary to ensure Sophia's succession, for Anne's Roman Catholic half-brother was significantly closer to London than Sophia. The Electress was eager to move to London, but the proposal was denied, as such action would mortally offend Anne who was strongly opposed to a rival court in her kingdom. Anne might have been aware that Sophia, who was active and lively despite her old age, could cut a better figure than herself. Sophia was completely uncertain of what would happen after Anne's death, saying, "What Parliament does one day, it undoes the next." When the law was passed in mid-1701, Sophia, 5 of her children, and 3 legitimate grandchildren were alive. Although Sophia was in her 71st year, older than Anne by 35 years, she was very fit and healthy, and invested time and energy in securing the succession either for herself or her son. Currently, there are more than 5,000 legitimate descendants of Sophia, although not all are in the line of succession. The Sophia Naturalization Act 1705 granted the right of British nationality to Sophia's non-Roman Catholic descendants. Those who had obtained the right to British citizenship via this act at any time before its repeal by the British Nationality Act 1948 retain this lawful right today. Death and legacy. Although considerably older than Queen Anne, Sophia enjoyed much better health. According to the Countess of Bar-1-Kortersberg in a letter to Sophia's niece, the Raugravienne Luz, on June 5, 1714 Sophia felt ill after receiving an angry letter from Queen Anne. 2 days later she was walking in the gardens of Herrenhausen when she ran to shelter from a sudden downpour of rain and collapsed and died, aged 83 a very advanced age for the era. Just over a month later, in August, Queen Anne died at the age of 49. Had Anne died before June 1714, Sophia would have been the oldest person to ascend the British throne. Upon Sophia's death, her eldest son Elector George Louis of Brunswick-Lauenkortenberg became heir presumptive in her place, and weeks later, succeeded Anne as George I. Sophia's daughter Sophia Charlotte of Hanover married Frederick I of Prussia, from whom the later Prussian kings descend. Ancestry == Notes. References: Hatton, Ragnhild. George I., Elector and King. London, Thames and Hudson. ISBN 0-500-25060-X. Israel, Jonathan I. Radical Enlightenment. Oxford University Press, 2001, 84. Further reading: Duggan, J.N., Sophia of Hanover, From Winter Princess to Heiress of Great Britain. London, Peter Owen, 2010, Klopp, Onno, Correspondance de Leibniz avec la copyright Lectrice Sophie. Hanover, 1864-1875, Van der Kroos, Dirk. Sophie de Hanover, Memoirs et Lettres de Voyage. Paris, Fayard, 1990, Sophia. Encyclopædia Britannica 1911.